Welcome to our web chat on Cashforce's next generation, the future of cash flow forecasting. Cashforce have been around now since 2012, and we have Nicholas Christian, CEO and co-founder of Cashforce, who have been providing a cash forecasting working capital analytics platform for many years now. But inevitably, this has changed over the years, and they're now in the process of doing a next generation to continue to help finance departments and treasury departments save time and money. Nicola, welcome. This is really interesting stuff here.
Thank you, Jack. No, great to be here. Thank you for having me.
Now, cash flow forecasting has progressed enormously over the last 10 years or so, but since COVID-19, it's accelerated in development, and we're going to be examining the trends and why Cashforce are developing a next generation platform. But why all the rush? Why is the next generation needed?
Yeah, so two things. First of all, as you already said, the marketplace and market conditions are changing. And the second is because we really want to lower the barrier for entry to good cash flow forecasting. And if we take a little moment to go one step deeper, if you look today to treasurers around the world, real-time and data-driven are just not buzzwords, they're real today. Everything is getting faster, you're getting a lot of more data to work with. Real-time transactions are getting in there, and a lot of the decision-making is just more data-driven. So we want to be able as a platform to really cope with those particular new conditions, real time, the processing of millions of records, and finally the interconnectivity. If you look at the space today, it's becoming more and more fragmented because there are more and more niche solutions getting out there with great products, but obviously they need to work together. So there needs to be a integration capabilities, APIs, a strong backbone of state-of-the-art technology with, for example, microservices that link all of this together. And on the second part, lowering the barrier for entry, for me, this has always been something of the last few years that struck me so much, is that cash flow forecasting has been around so much, so long, and now that we have a couple of systems on the market, still there is that feel that, of course, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort to get really going. And I think what we needed is a next generation platform that you can actually get going on cash flow forecasting without ERP data integration, and in a very Excel-like way support this process. So you lower the barrier for entry, but you are prepared to grow in the future.
Of these reasons, which is the most important, or are they all the same?
Well, the fact that the conditions change continuously across the market is just a fact of life, and that will continue to be the case in the coming years. So that's why my answer would be definitely number two, lowering the barrier for entry, because that's the crucial bit here. We're trying to get a cash flow forecasting mainstream. It's absolutely not yet mainstream, and we want to get it there.
Okay, so if we look at where you've come from, the sort of platform today, you're building on the differentiators that your customers have used for, well, 10 years or more.
Yep.
How are you developing, how are you moving from this?
Yeah, so I think the exciting part, as you say, is that the systems that are around there are there, and what we have done is we're differentiating ourselves from those systems by providing very specific parts that our customers love today, the drill down capabilities, ERP integrations. Our link to working capital has been always very much a key differentiator when linking working capital with cash. And finally, for example, that general ledger based classification engine that we're basically are renowned for today. But if I think really about what's going to progress from here to the future, more and more is that smart logic and machine learning. We just scratched the surface. And I think this is where there's a lot of capabilities and a lot of, I would say, untapped potential that will be getting untapped in the next few months and years. And that's definitely the part, one of the parts that we started from and we extended into our NextGen platform, together with a lot of other things that will come up next.
Okay, so what is in the new or next generation, as you call it, platform?
As you saw on the previous slide, we build upon the key things that our clients love today. But as we come into this world of a lot of data, real-time data processing requirements, what we have done is we've built in the capabilities into our platform where there is real-time data processing. There is a full API enabled architecture where we can connect with ERPs, TMSs, bank systems, execution platforms. But I think what's really pushing it to the next level is that we just scratched the surface with machine learning, and we are extending our base of algorithms and ways to really make use of this machine learning. So that's key point number one. Now, the key point number two, you might say, well, a more intuitive user experience is just normal that we would get a good user experience. That's absolutely right. But if you look to cash flow forecasting, I attended one of these webinars, and the comment was made that making adjustments to a cash flow forecast is key. And that's exactly what we try to do here. It is absolutely key, but it is not always that easy in any of the platforms today. So what we really did is we focused on getting an Excel-like experience, inputting data and making amendments. And that, together with industry-specific templates, so you can actually, if you're in a certain industry, you can start from a specific set of categories, together with workflow capabilities that let you basically post forecasts according to a timeline, according to a process, and then finally getting smart alerts, notifications that basically alerts you immediately of what you need to do if someone has provided a comment. So this adds to the actual user experience in the next generation. And the third element is about scenario building capabilities. If you think of today's environment with COVID, the only thing really treasurers need is they need to handle uncertainty in the market, uncertainty in their company, uncertainty in their process. And the need is very high to have a very easy way to integrate scenarios, not just simple ones, but really complex ones, with different users collaborating to get to this state. And finally, then being able to analyze actuals versus forecasts versus each of those scenarios, and making a very good analysis on the accuracy. So, and this is the key third element that we enhanced in our NextGen platform.
And that's clearly driven by the impact of COVID pandemic and the wholly new requirements and unbelievable things that you're now trying to forecast and build scenarios on. So give us a sneak peek of what's coming. Let's have a look at 3 slides I think you brought along.
Yeah, so first of all, on this particular slide, you could see a little bit a sneak peek into the interface. We, on the left-hand side, have a particular set of filters that you can put on the data. You see a chart, you see a table, but you see immediately on the right-hand side the Excel-like way of navigating, selecting things, right-clicking, trying to make sense of a cash flow forecast, but in an Excel-like way in terms of interacting from a user perspective. And if you go to the next one, here you actually see a couple of notifications on the left-hand side for a particular user, ranging from getting a comment to the forecast, getting a reaction to a comment, getting a rejected forecast. So really notifications and alerts, that is really at the forefront of sort of the interaction that different users have across the forecast. And then on the next slide, you'll see on the right top-hand side, several scenarios that are being built across the horizon. So just a sneak peek, but there's a lot of more to come.
The one problem with Excel is the development and hidden things that people have done. How traceable is it in your new system?
Yeah, so I think you make a good point. It's important that everything that changes transactions, every added transaction will basically carry an audit trail with us. And that's key. So everything, literally everything part of your forecast is being audit trailed. And that, of course, has a lot of benefits because then later on you can understand why certain interactions happened a bit better than if you won't have that trace.
Okay, this is really quite exciting. What's your early adopter program? Why are you getting into this?
Well, I think when a lot of people have heard and will have heard about our NextGen platform, people are going to immediately ask the question like, hey, how can I be part of this? Or how can I, maybe test the platform or what does it look like? So we said to ourselves that certainly in these environments, people are looking around for solutions. And again, following the principle of lowering the barrier, we said we will launch an early adopter program where an exclusive group of corporates are going to test the platform before it's actually even launched. And the benefits of doing that is really that the corporates are able to actually look and influence at the roadmap, that they get really a trial access to the platform, and they can have really a good bonding and relationship being formed with Cashforce itself. And our goal, of course, is to make sure we get the right feedback from the market to have that next-gen platform delivering an even better experience than the one that we even envisioned before.
So who qualifies and who doesn't, and how do you decide?
Yeah, well, I can already say that we have a number of high exposure corporates participating to the program. We're very excited as well about our advisory group that is supporting this program in terms of providing really a forum for collaboration towards a even better product. Again, trying to get cash flow forecasting mainstream. And the way that other corporates can qualify is they'll get a qualification list, and that qualification list will basically try to qualify numerical, quantitative side and qualitative side, how big the business case is. And we're looking for corporates where there's a clear incentive to do better cash flow forecasting so that all of our incentives are aligned to become part of getting cash flow forecasting mainstream.
It surprises me that you say it's still difficult to get cash flow forecasting mainstream. How common is it?
Very simple answer, Jack. I think everyone to a certain extent will do cash flow forecasting. The question is how, and how integrated that is with the business, how integrated is that with the business, and how accurate is that? And I think if maybe 90% of the companies do cash flow forecasting to a certain extent, you would find only 20-30% really using a dedicated process or system for it that basically stays longer than a year. And that's why I guess my comment should be more like cash flow forecasting in a structured and process-driven way is not really mainstream. Cash flow forecasting itself is obviously a necessity in most cases, so it is mainstream. But doing it in a structured, process-driven way, connected with the organization, that is absolutely not mainstream today. And that's what we want to get it to. We're on the way. Different providers are together with us doing that, and that's why we bring out this next-gen platform.
Okay, so what's the most important thing here on this next generation platform? What's the most important thing that's driving you?
The most important thing is lowering the barrier for entry, making it a easy onboarding experience to get Cashforce basically brought into the organization and deliver value. And I think lowering the barrier is just what the industry needs to get going on cash flow forecasting at potentially a low maturity state to start, but then growing really to a higher and higher maturity state overall. And of course, technology and being state of the art API enabled. All of those elements will, of course, help with that.
Absolutely. So just remind us of the timing of the exploratory program and then the actual launch.
Great question. So our launch is planned for early 2021, so Q1 of 2021. And we are still looking for some early adopters to walk with us during the last quarter of this year.
Thank you very much. Most interesting.
Thank you, Jack.